Post-Impressionism is an art movement developed roughly between 1886 and 1905. This movement can be described as a reaction of a young group of painters led by Paul Cézanne against Impressionist concern for the naturalistic depiction of light and color. It can also be described as an expansion of Impressionism while rejecting its limitations in the sense that the artists continued using vivid colors, a thick application of paint, and real-life subject matter just like Impressionism, but were more inclined to emphasize geometric forms, distort forms for an expressive effect, and use unnatural and seemingly random colors. Post-Impressionism focuses on the emphasis on abstract qualities or symbolic content of the artwork. Artworks were characterized by a renewed aesthetic sense as well as abstract tendencies that create a parallel of the reality. Paul Cézanne, a French painter and considered as the father of post-impressionism because he was the first artist of his generation to deliberately and successfully break away from impressionism. His style and method set out to restore a sense of order and structure to painting by reducing objects to their most basic shapes while retaining the saturation of colors. His artworks are characterized by executing repetitive and exploratory brush strokes. To name some of his works, The Large Butters, Chateau Noir, The Basket of Apples, and Boy in a Red Vest. As we can see from these paintings, Cézanne's works employ constructive brush strokes, meticulously arranged marks that work together to create geometric forms. As Cézanne avoided the use of dark lines, he relied on this constructing brushwork to define the outline of objects. One of the most celebrated artworks of Cézanne is the Card Players series in 1890. It is a series of 5 paintings of local farm workers playing cards. This is said to be among the finest figure compositions completed by the artist because he carefully crafted his composition by making preparatory works and making figure studies of local farm workers and continued to fine-tune the poses and positions of the card players until they fit with each other. While there are, in total, 5 paintings of card players by Cézanne, the final 3 works were similar in composition and consisted of 2 players, causing them to sometimes be grouped together as one version. The scene has been described as balanced but asymmetrical, with the wine bottle in the middle of the table as the center or the reference point of the painting's asymmetrical balance. The Card Players series demonstrates his system of color gradations to build form and create a 3-dimensional quality in the figures.
Paul Gauguin is a post-impressionist painter from France, which was a central figure in the early 1900s symbolist art movement. His portraits, which included bright colors, unrealistic body proportions, and stark contrast, set him apart from his contemporaries, paving the way for the primitivism art movement. Gauguin was drawn to tropical locations and spent time in Tahiti, where he lived and painted. Gauguin was one of the most vibrant figures in the art world. He described himself as a savage and believed to be of Inca ancestry. So the first artwork is Where Do We Come From? What Are We? Where Are We Going? Is a large, brightly colored yet mysterious work drawn on rugged, heavy sackcloth. It is made up of a variety of human, animal, and abstract characters that are scattered around an island landscape. In the backdrop, the sea and Tahiti's volcanic mountains can be seen. It is Paul Gauguin's biggest painting, which he found to be his best. So the second artwork is The Spirit of the Dead Watching. It is an especially intriguing piece with a cryptic picture. A woman lies on her bed, her arm leaning on her bed, while a strange black-clad figure stares at her from nearby. We may conclude from the title that this is a ghost. But what ghost is it exactly? Is it possible that the lady is dead and her own soul is peering into her body? Or is it true that she is sleeping in a haunted room? If she's sleeping, may the scene be a dream? Ghost of the Dead Watching is a genuinely interesting piece of art because each audience is likely to come up with their own understanding. Next one is Nevermore. Gauguin's Nevermore was composed so as I simultaneously suggest and deny reality. As such, the painting's space is portrayed more through a combination of decorative panels than by the illusion of 3-dimensional space. The figures and birds in the background may be real, yet at the same time they may be figures painted onto a screen. Lastly is the vision after the sermon. The artwork has less impressionist and more decidedly post-impressionist characteristics, indicating a shift away from the plain approach of direct observation of nature and into a more abstract form. There's an emphasis on abstract color and form, with aspects of the symbolism he later created tossed aid for good measure. The basis for the theme derives from the Genesis 32 verse 22 to 31, in which Jacob wrestles with a man all night and finds in the morning that he was an angel and a representation of God.
In the picture is Georges Seurat or Zura. He was a French post-impressionist artist and best known for devising the painting technique known as chromo-luminarism as well as pointillism or divisionism. This is a method of painting using small dot-like stroke of color. One of his paintings is Bathurst at Las Nieves. This painting depicts working-class men lounging in the riverbank. Another painting is Can Can or Le Chahut, wherein it became a target of art critics and was widely discussed among symbolist critics. Another painting from Zura is Circus Sideshow or Parade de Cirque. Another painting from Zura is Die Models, also known as the Three Models. So what really is divisionism or chromoluminarism? This is a style of modern art which involved a separation of color into individual dots or patches which interacted optically in the viewer's eye. By applicating small touches of pure colors into the canvas, thus making the viewer's eye mix the different colors optically. And the first artist to systematically develop the theory of divisionism was Georges Seurat. So the painting that I've showed earlier are examples of divisionism or chromoluminarism. The next artist that we will discuss is the most famous and influential figures in the history of Western art, which is Vincent van Gogh. So one of his paintings, and also my favorite painting from him, is The Starry Night. It depicts the view from the east-facing window of his room, and it conveys strong feeling of hope through the bright lights of stars shining down over the dark landscape and night. Another painting from Vincent van Gogh is Sunflowers, which symbolize loyalty, adoration. Another painting from him is Irises, which he called the lightning conductor for my illness. Another painting from Vincent van Gogh is the portrait of Dr. Gachet. Another painting from Vincent van Gogh is the Café Terrace at night. Another painting from Vincent van Gogh is the self-portrait with bandaged ear, wherein in this painting, he uses a mirror. The last painting from Vincent van Gogh is the Potato Eaters, wherein in this painting, he deliberately chose a difficult composition to prove that he was on his way to becoming a good figure painter. That's all, thank you.